A full month gone by since the worst All-Star game occurred in front of our very eyes, but thank goodness that's over. With better basketball to come the next few weeks left till playoff time, the West never been so wide open since 2008, teams battling for playoff implications. A couple losses will knock off certain teams from the play-in entirely. It's win now or never for some. How's it going, guys? My name's Wilson. Here are 7 players saving their careers post All-Star break, starting with James Wiseman of the Detroit Pistons. Labeled as the most recent biggest bust, some even called him the worst player in the NBA. The doubters weren't very wise. A fresh start at the Motor City, a tanking team under no pressure, and all the time in the world to make mistakes and getting big playing time, putting up numbers. Now the joke's on Golden State, struggling to make the playoffs. Last 13 games, numbers of 14 points, 9.5 rebounds, 56% shooting, over a block. Not bad at all for the soon-to-be 22-year-old. Already 3 games of 20-plus points with Detroit, reminded everybody why he was drafted 2nd overall. His length and size, a nightmare to defend, able to take it coast to coast for finishes. Golden State having star vets building everything around Curry. Wiseman would have never gotten opportunities designed for him, despite still lacking on D. The trade could have broken him, but now eligible for a rookie extension, having the highest ceiling of the young Pistons bigs. There's plenty of young guys who gets traded and still doesn't produce for their new teams simply because they're just not very good. Wiseman a ton of unwanted blame, most of it due to injuries. Now showing he's capable of hitting threes, was always gonna be Looney's backup. Had he stayed with Golden State, a mixture playing outside plus having solid moves in the paint, a huge confidence booster, starting over much needed, the first time he gets basketball freedom since high school. His upside, why Golden State drafted him in the first place. The team had no choice but to save money, but now the perfect situation in a rebuild. Don't be shocked to see Wiseman be the long-term starting center for Detroit, put up 17 and 10 next season and get his money. Russell Westbrook of the LA Clippers, bringing energy especially on the glass, all-out hustle effort. No matter how bad the shooting numbers get, the terrible turnovers, Russ will always be there. 11 games with LAC, 13-5-8, 5 straight losses to start his Clipper tenure, now won 5 of his last 6. Many thought he'd truly be out the league and didn't know if he was even gonna win any single games for the Clips. Some expected him to get cut after that losing streak. While teams continue to leave him wide open, Westbrook has the advantages, being arguably the best rebounding point guard all time, creeps towards the paint to crash the glass in a tight win where Golden State wouldn't have won it without him, as long as he doesn't let the misses get to him. Russ still gets out in transition to make plays for himself and teammates, Clippers paying him the league minimum, getting way more of a production, now viewed as a luxury, than having the disastrous John Wall. As long as Russ continues to be okay on the bench in crunch time, not force up too many shots, and find the right balance, could actually be part of the Clips rotations for a long playoff run. The Clippers having to run Zubac to the ground, adding solid backup Mason Plumlee, and now having the relentless 34-year-old point guard crash the boards, the team slowly starting to put things together. Kris Dunn of the Utah Jazz. I made a recent video about his incredible comeback. A guy super easy to cheer for from tough beginnings, a career unfulfilled by injuries, balled out in the G League, worked relentlessly on his jumper, the former 5th pick from the 2016 draft, a way better value for any team over the pathetic $35 million 0-point Ben Simmons. After bouncing from team to team, briefly with Atlanta and Portland after his tenure with the Bulls, the now 29-year-old 11 games for the Jazz, on his way to playing the most games in the season since 2020, nearly a dozen points, over 5 assists, very efficient from the field, 50% shooting, over 40 from deep, something he struggled with the first couple years, earned a multi-year deal, placed in crunch time, one of the best defensive point guards in the league, showing the most promise since his 2nd season, a roller coaster journey after being known as Portland's tank commander this time around last season. Dunn has a chance to help Utah make it to the postseason, something that seemed impossible back in October. Franchise supposed to be rebuilding, but within striking distance for a playoff berth, 3 weeks left in the season. By embracing the fact that he took his talents to the G League to earning back quality NBA minutes, that's what's real sacrifice and humbleness all about. Joe Ingles of the Milwaukee Bucks. running the second unit, initiating the offense, his career in serious jeopardy after the torn ACL, but the 35-year-old a chance at winning a ring. Last dozen games, 9 points on 55% shooting, super hot from deep, good minutes for Coach Bud, viewed somewhat of a high risk before the season, 1 year $6.5 million deal, so far living up to expectations. On a team with the best record, underrated passer, came up clutch to beat the Suns, chemistry with vet addition Jay Crowder, another decent role player who's been in plenty of big playoff games and crucial moments. Outside of Golden State's vets, Milwaukee as a whole, the second most experienced playoff team. Ingles' abilities to slow down the game, having him and 34-year-old Brook Lopez on the floor together, both look extremely out of shape. School teachers who can't run or jump but will destroy everybody in the neighborhood in 2-on-2 pickup, a master manipulator, good ball fakes, proving speed and athleticism not needed when you got smarts and brains. Given the heavy workload of Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton still trying to get back to all-star form, the Australian could be one of those X factors who helped win the Bucks a couple playoff games when the key star struggles. Myers Leonard of the Milwaukee Bucks overcame heavy adversity after being recorded shouting a slur. Many thought his NBA career would end for good. After playing 0 games the entire 2022 season, just 3 games with the 21 Heat, was getting minutes, even started for 2 finals games back in the bubble. The 7-footer could have disappeared from the game forever, but did the right things. Last 2 years, owned up to his mistakes, dealt with receiving brutal messages. Many could have folded and do anything to avoid being seen in public. But Leonard, now a chance at redeeming his career after 2 10-day contracts, signed for the remainder of the season. Miami wasted no time trading him after the incident and waived by OKC immediately. No team wanted anything to do with him. Leonard even thought about quitting basketball altogether. Being 7 feet and the ability to hit threes, still extremely valuable when he gets the opportunities. Cam Reddish of the Portland Trail Blazers, finally freed after being held hostage by Tibbs. The 23-year-old even starts for a bad team that's sinking further down, having a couple 20-point games. The talent's there, looking like an above-average role player as his ceiling, has the physical tools and the size is 6'8", even at times Portland's second leading scorer when Simons went out. Reddish making the best of his chances, no longer a total red flag, but will need continuous improvements if he wants big money. Matisse Thybulle, one of the bigger Sixer disappointments last few years outside of Ben Simmons, was supposed to be the Thabo Sefolosha / Andre Robertson for the franchise, but basically useless for the Sixers. A free agent after this season, many had given up on the 26-year-old, but since the trade, started all 15 games for Portland. After the break, averages of over 8 points, 1.7 steals, 38% from 3 in 29 minutes, not a total disaster. Made 4 threes his first game as a Blazer. Many thought he'd be better than expected after having little to no expectations. Doc Rivers simply didn't like playing Matisse. A solid two-way player, if he keeps improving the outside shot, will continue getting rotation minutes. Still lots of work to be done. At least we know he's not totally done after struggling in Philly. Honorable mentions: Sandro Mamukelashvili. After waived by the Bucks on a 2-way deal, San Antonio signed him the remainder of the season. The 6'11" big out of Seton Hall, putting up over 7 and 6 for a bottom tier squad, playing crucial minutes down the stretch, a crucial time for him. A couple more decent performances could be the difference between getting an 8 figures type deal versus a 2-way contract or end up being overseas. You bet Malmo wants the first. While Marvin Bagley III of the Detroit Pistons, 2 years left on his deal after this season, after missing nearly 2 months with hand injury, the former second pick putting up over 13 and 8 over his last 9 games, playing 27 minutes, just turned 24. His most important thing, staying healthy, constant missed time. Bagley should be fortunate. Detroit will of the team style remain patient. The lineup of him with Wiseman, simply a bad mix. Bagley nowadays a hit or miss depending on the night. Thanks so much for watching this video. Which one of these players coming back you most surprised by? Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe for more content. See you next time.